Got to, man. Gotta bounce back. Shout out to my homie Keys, Xavier Keys, on the vocals on this. Okay. Honestly, they couldn't stop me if they wanted to. Gotta get up, go out and get it, and that's what I'm gonna do. I've been focused, I'm not hungry. Yo, I'm starving, dude. Grind mode with my team, we making these power moves. Honestly, they couldn't stop me if they wanted to. Gotta get up, go out and get it, and that's what I'm gonna do. I've been focused, I'm not hungry. Yo, I'm starving, dude. In grind mode with my team, we making these power moves. Cause I ain't got no time to be wasting with all this music I'm making. Man, I'm tired of being impatient, so I keep making these moves here with my crew. Vow to myself to always stay true, so I don't care what nobody else do. I know why. Like an erection, bumps in the road, but nah, I ain't stressing. I don't work out, but homie, I'm flexing. Every time I get on the beat and I bless it. Rise and shine, and I never let another come and stop my grind. Cause I grind all night at the gig, no lie. Then it's back in the booth for some overtime. Come on. Nope. Shout out to Miss Alma Ramos. Shout out to Miss B. I said, hey. My mom told me to get them, so I don't care what y'all say. I just keep grinding. Yeah, I stay working, cause it's, you know, I said, that's right. In the lab with a pen and a pad, let's ride. Make it look so easy, don't it make y'all mad? One thing I know, one thing is certain. I can't stop, won't stop, cause me and my team stay working. One thing I know, one thing is certain. Can't stop, won't stop, on the grind, getting mine, I'm working. No sleep. Spit heat, killing these tracks, and I'm not gonna stop till I'm up on top where I'm supposed to be. Everywhere I go, I scream SP. We more than a crew, we a family. Working trying to get a couple Grammys, G, have them sitting on top of the mantelpiece. Thank God. Go hard, they just mad cause I'm on my job. But where I'm from, it's the ground to starve. Starving, I just can't do it. Not having it, unthinkable. So I turn in and stretch Armstrong, and now I can reach the unreachable. Let's go. Hey, trying to. Yo, I said I can't sit still. I just laugh at y'all haters. Cause, yeah. Hey, moms told me, so I don't. Let's go, I just keep. Yeah, I stay. Cause it's, you know, I said, that's right. In the lab with a pen and a pad,
Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is now 8:01 a.m. and you are listening to and watching Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. You, Monica, Rita, previewing our guest today. But before I get there, I owe you guys an article, and Monica's going to put that in the chat. I told you on Tuesday about the Will County Clerk's great piece regarding election integrity and how to sift through misinformation, disinformation, supposition. Not the word of the day, but that was a good one. Supposition and fiction And it's a really good article. I encourage you to read it because election integrity is key, and using your brain is even a bigger key. Today's guest, ladies and gentlemen, is Rita Oceguera. I said it right. Yes. Of Injustice Watch. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really happy to be here.
Good to see you today. Good to see you. Good to see you. So we're going to talk about Injustice Watch. We'll talk about you. We'll talk about the recent article published in Justice Watch. Before our listeners, where were you born and raised? Let's get to know you before we get to that.
Yeah. My name is Rita Oceguera. I was born here in Aurora, East Side.
Okay.
Very proud to be from the East Side. I went to journalism school in Evanston in Northwestern.
Okay.
And then I studied journalism and anthropology. And
Okay.
then after that, I did my master's in social justice and investigative reporting. And now I'm at Injustice Watch through a program called RFA, it's Report for America.
Okay.
And they help different journalists start in different newsrooms around the country. So through them, I'm very happy to be on Injustice Watch.
Nice. Do you have your eyes on a particular newsroom?
I love Injustice Watch.
Okay.
I honestly would stay there forever if I could. We'll see, hopefully. I also love ProPublica.
ProPublica.
Yes, it's
Great.
Another newsroom that I really love. Those are my top two, I would say.
Yeah, I love the news. The news is fun. The news is it's a living, breathing thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love the news. How else can you stay informed? I also like the different styles and feels of news and how to, I like the process of sifting through. Like, why didn't they ask a follow-up question? Why, what can you give us more than that? That's obviously a targeted statement. That's not the answer to the question. I like all those little elements about it. So a Tomcat who works for Injustice Watch.
Yes.
Very cool. For the listeners and those who are not familiar, tell us a little bit about Injustice Watch. What's its history? When was it founded? Etc.
Yeah, so Injustice Watch is a nonprofit newsroom. We are based in Chicago, but always expanding as we are now in the suburbs.
Okay.
We cover a lot of institutional issues, and we try and hold institutions accountable.
Okay.
So we cover everything from immigration, housing, prisons, and we're very well known for our judicial voting guide.
Okay.
Covering the courts and judges and seeing how they interact with the public.
Okay, interesting. How they interact with the public. What have you found?
Yeah, they're a variety of things. The manner that judges speak to people, the disparity between sentences between people of color and white people. So we cover a lot of that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. I think that COVID has made some of those disparities really evident.
Yes.
Like, COVID is it is a negative, but there have been positives.
Yes.
There have been that have come out of it. I mean, it wasn't, as we mentioned before the microphone was on, like court, right? If it wasn't for COVID, even if Zoom was free for kids, they never would have started having courts on. Well, we don't know that, but it's safe to assume that wouldn't have happened. Has there been anything since you've been doing your work that has particularly stuck out to you about institutions and how they operate with the public?
Something in particular. It's amazing what happens in people's lives. Something that's really struck me in working here in the suburbs is not knowing the stories of the people, my own community, and then actually talking to those people and learning a lot of things I didn't know when I grew up here. And I'd seen a few things, of course, but just learning more in depth about how consistent issues have been going on, for how long they've been going on, and just nothing being done or no resolutions coming from since then. you
Right.
know?
Now so you said that Injustice Watch is headquartered in Chicago,
Yes.
but it has suburban offices.
Not suburban offices. We're just expanding our coverage more.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So not suburban offices, but doing more in the suburbs,
Yes.
expanding coverage. Okay. What can you tell us about the city as opposed to the suburbs? We, being suburbanites, all of us, we know where we live and how different it is from the nitty gritty of the city. But what can you tell us? Because you're researching and investigating in a whole different light.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think the suburbs are very different from the city, and I think there's a lot of issues that we hear about in the news about the city that are happening here in the suburbs, and there's not a spotlight on them. We hear things about police accountability all the time in Chicago, and different things that happen, different videos that come up, and we don't really get that from Aurora, and a lot of the same things are happening here too.
So now with Injustice Watch, your most recent work or piece was on the Aurora APD.
Yes.
Now, when you mention institutions, have they always been police departments and courts? Is that the bulk majority of what makes up the reporting in Injustice Watch?
There's different ones too. We cover a lot of immigration.
Okay.
And we do prisons also.
Okay.
And we've covered a lot of different changes in the law in Illinois as well, and how that affects different parts, different institutions. If it affects education, we might cover that as well.
Okay. All right.
So we do a little bit of everything, like housing, like a lot of things.
You wear many hats.
Yes.
Many reporter hats. All right. Good morning to all of you, dear, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. You live audience, you. How you guys doing today out there in the crowd? We're not in the studio by ourselves. There are a lot of people here, socially distanced. Good morning to everybody. Let's see who we got in the Chickadee chat. Deb, good morning. Anna Sierra, good morning. Tyrus Brooks, good morning, you fantastic people. Thank you, Tyrus. Thank you. He called us fantastic.
Amazing.
Isn't that nice? Damn.
Fantastic.
Jennifer Ryan Mayton, good morning to you. And have a fantastic day, all you great people. The time is now 8:09 a.m.
I got a great one. Josie Mendoza was like, "Hi Rita, former student, doing great things."
Oh, nice.
Josie Mendoza Geller?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was your teacher?
From O'Donnell Elementary School.
Oh my goodness. See, it's a family show. What? Oh, that's awesome. Thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Mark, good morning to you as well. Mark is the proprietor of Tavern on Broadway, a great and fantastic location located at 24 North Broadway downtown, close to the intersection of Broadway and New York Street. Go there on Fridays and try the fish fries. Excellent. You heard it here on Good Morning Aurora. What is the most? So you said that one of the things that has stuck out to you is you were unaware of the stories to be told here in your own community that and things that are going on. But I'm wondering, you being a person who's from the East Side, not that it escaped you, not that you just somehow didn't see it, but why do you think it was a shock to you, or it was something to see, like, oh wow, why, how could it be that you grew up here but were somewhat, it happens, but what was that process like for you?
Yeah, I don't think it was necessarily shocking, but it really, I think something I talk about with a lot of people is that I am Latina, but I am white passing Latina, so I don't experience the same
degree
of issues.
Right. A traffic stop for you,
yeah, a traffic stop
way
for me,
different than,
yeah. If I don't turn my signal on 100 feet before turning, they're not gonna stop me.
Right. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's just happens. That's our world right now.
Right.
And so I think that's part of it, the privilege that I hold as a white passing person.
Okay.
And not having those experiences directly happen to me. But it's also interesting how we don't talk about it amongst each other in our own friend group. Because once I started reporting on issues, I've been mentioning, oh, I'm doing this story. And then my friends are like, oh, that happened to me. And, they've never talked about it before.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think some people normalize it. Some people think, oh, it happens all the time.
They just deal with it?
They just deal with it kind of thing, yeah. Of course, that's speculation. You would have to ask them.
Sure.
But maybe people don't want to talk about it. Maybe it was an embarrassing moment for them. Maybe they felt ashamed or guilty. Maybe they thought they did something wrong when they didn't do something wrong.
It could be anything.
It could be
anything for that person experiencing it. Yeah. The reason why I ask you is because, and we've talked about this with other friends on this show and in other contexts, but the reason why I asked that specifically is because I feel like one of the big reasons why, I guess to nutshell it, the injustice. I think one of the reasons why it has become so pervasive, or that it's become the big pimple of society, is because people have been dealing with it. Now, if a person's going through that kind of trauma where they feel embarrassed or the traffic stop took an ugly turn, sure, no one wants to continue to relive that.
Yeah.
But I do think that there will have to be, or there should have been, a time to express that consistently, because it's made it, now it's a new thing. Now you're just saying something about it. And that's unfortunate. I think that's unfortunate. And I hope that we can change that collectively, with work like you're doing and everything. We will get to the article momentarily, but for you listeners, Monica, if you would be so kind, take us to a commercial and let us know what's happening on a local tip.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Here are your local headlines, real news, real people, real stories, 100% Aurora. Don't forget to please subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date on all of our content. There you can also watch all of our interviews and receive notifications when we go live. State Representative Barbara Hernandez and Talented 10th Social Services Incorporated have partnered to host a junior state representative program for high school students to learn more about the political process. The junior state representative program will accept a total of 30 students, 15 students from East Aurora High School and 15 students from West Aurora High School. Participants will be able to draft bill ideas and participate in virtual mock sessions where they can debate and defend their bill with other members. Students must commit to attending virtual meetings on the second Monday of every month from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., starting in March and ending in June. Applications must be submitted by this Friday, the 14th, and I will be sharing that link with you all in our chat. On Tuesday, starting January 11th, through February 22nd from 6:30 to 8 p.m., Rush Copley Medical Center has a great event scheduled. Enjoy the benefits of better health by overcoming tobacco addiction, freedom from smoking, a 7-week program sponsored by the American Lung Association, will prepare you to quit any tobacco product by week 4 and provide support throughout the process. And if you can still register, I'll be sharing that link with you all in our chat. But yeah, the 2022 Youth Voices Forum on Mental Health will be held virtually on Wednesday, February 23rd from 8 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. The Youth Voices Forum creates a space for young people to have their voices heard as they share their thoughts, experiences, and insights related to mental health. This year's forum will feature student speakers, small group breakout sessions, and a large group sessions where students can report out.
report out, where students can report out. Thank you very much, Monica. And I'm happy to say that, there's a reason why we give you American Lung Association and stuff like quitting smoking. You know how the memories come up on Facebook? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, this memory from this long ago. I have been cigarette free for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Oh, y'all clapping? Thank you. Y'all the best live audience I ever had. But enough about me. So your most recent article and work was about APD. Well, actually, it was about an officer on APD. And it seemed like the tenor and tone of the article was in regards to a pattern of complaints and unaddressed issues and occurrences, the lack of behavioral steps taken on the officer. So before we go deeper into it, in all the reporting that you have done, is that typical?
I've seen a pattern of complaints.
Yeah.
It depends on the officer.
Okay.
It really does.
Okay.
But there are other officers.
Okay.
With patterns of complaints.
Now, what was it? Well, first of all, how did you come about this story? How does it work? I know how it works for us. I know how I get information. What? We'll get it. You will too. How do you do it? How did you come about this story?
Yeah, so this story began, so the Aurora Police Department, they provide an open data portal.
Right.
Where you can see all of the complaints made against officers.
Okay.
But those complaints don't have officer names attached to them in the open data portal. So it's difficult to see a pattern for a certain officer who's consistently getting complaints.
Okay.
So what we did, we submitted a FOIA, which is just for the audience. It's a request you make to get documents that are public records, anything the city does, anything government does.
Freedom of Information Act.
Yes.
Right.
Anything they do, we are able to get that information because they're public records, but we have to submit a form to get them. Right. So we received this database with all the officers' names in it, and we were able to see the officers that have the most complaints, what those complaints are for, things like that. There's no citizen information on it, but there's information of the officers. Right. So in doing so, we found that Brian was...
Now that's the Illinois State Police?
This is just the Aurora Police Department data. Yeah. So we found that Brian had quite a few complaints in that data set. And then I went to a rally in front of the police department in Simmons where they mentioned Brian, and people spoke about their experiences. Some letters were sent in anonymously, and people spoke about their experiences through that. So it was a person that the community had interest in, and really trying to follow the lead of what the community wants to know about. Okay. So we decided to go with Brian, someone that the community wanted to know more about. Okay. So then we started FOIA-ing more information on Brian. We got his personal records from the police departments, personnel records from his police department, and we FOIA'd a list of all of the complaints he's ever received since being in the police department. He joined in 1995. Okay. And of those, and that full list combined with the data we had gotten already, it was about 74 complaints, and 33 of them, I believe, were sustained.
Okay. Now, sustained means that there was evidence to back it up. Yes. That's just what that means. Like, okay, that's sustained. 33 out of 74. What's the? I'm curious. When it comes to how long does it take to get the information from when you FOIA'd?
Yeah, it's a long process. Right. So the police department, or in Illinois, the law is you have 5 business days to return that request, but you have the ability to request an extension of 5 more business days. So up to 10 days it can take to get a request. Oh, right. Okay. Interesting.
So now you have the information. what's the process, and I'm sure it's probably the same across the board. What's the process for filtering the information? What's the process? Because, 73 complaints, 33 of which are sustained. Certainly, there's more, panning of the gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like filtering the sand between so what's the rest of the process like?
Yeah, so something we did, we looked at the allegations of those complaints. So there's like conduct, police pursuit violations, media relations violations. There's like different violations.
Media relations
like
violations.
Public relations, I think it's called, violation. If you break a policy in APD, then that is they categorize it in different ways. Do
all police departments have that kind of thing?
It varies with police departments. They categorize it in different ways.
Okay.
But Aurora has one, and it's labeled under conduct.
Okay.
And that can mean a lot of things.
Right.
So, lost my train of thought. So we looked at those allegations and we FOIA'd summary investigations of the complaint. So we get the actual complaint, and then there's a few things that are they are
expunged.
Not expunged, but they're like bleeped out.
Redacted.
They're redacted. Yes.
The word of the day is redacted. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Monica. See that? We got there.
Yes.
3 brains in this room. We was what do you mean they're eliminated? I don't know. What's the word? Redacted.
So information, any like personal information, like names of the citizen that did the complaint, that's redacted. So but the premise of what the complaint is there. Right. So then we look at those complaints and see what patterns come out of those then. Right. And from those categories of conduct, we found 2 sustain of allegations of sexual misconduct. Okay. And they're not labeled as sexual misconduct. They're labeled under conduct.
Under conduct. Right. Conduct that's the jar of which everything is in.
Conduct can include excessive force. It can include a variety of things, really.
Right. Real quick, Josue Pais, good morning. Cheryl Brownell, good morning. Norma Peterson, good morning. Thank you for what you do. This is so needed. I just want to remind you one more time, we will omit the name of the gentleman.
Yes.
All right. Cindy Morales and Karina Suarez Darden. Real quick, just because we're just 2 normal citizens, right? We're just 2 tax-paying blue-collar Americans. It would seem kind of counterproductive to not appropriately label different types of conduct, would it not? Right? Wouldn't you want to do that? You wouldn't want to have just a big jar of conduct of which all kinds of things are in there, right? You would want to have specific categories of which. Does that make sense?
Yes, it definitely makes the job harder to find out.
I'm sure
those allegations are.
Right. Okay. So now you're doing your research. You're reading your information, your allegations. Do you have a limit of how far you're going back for information, or are you just, you're researching from date of hire kind of thing?
Yeah, so there's a limit. It's now changed. The law has changed, but formerly, after 4 years, documents can be erased. They can be destroyed.
Right.
And now the law has changed, and police departments can no longer do that. They have to keep all the documents. Right. So a lot of the information, I could FOIA the specific complaints up into 4 years ago, right?
Hold on. Scratch that. Hold on. Monica? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we making sure Monica is good over there. She got the hot chocolate. Went down the wrong pipe. It happens to the best. It happens to the best of us. Can you hear my water, Monica? Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we see. So human family show, right? It all happens to the best of us. Because of the law and different laws that have changed, as you were mentioning, excuse me, police departments can no longer destroy documents after that 4-year period, whatever it was.
Yes.
So that presumably will help make things a little bit better. Well, not just a little bit better, a lot easier with which to
more
search for information. Yeah, more transparent. I'm curious though, with all of the information that's out there that you got at your disposal from the FOIA, and all of the information that people would tell you, right? So now you got the actual individuals who may have a complaint. Now you're talking to them. Were you ever able to match the human that may have wrote you or may have emailed you to incident X in 19 whatever it was? Were you ever able to meet the people in the flesh who may have been the subject of the complaint or what have you?
Unless I had spoken to them first and then I looked up the complaint, no, it is difficult to do because that information is redacted from the complaint, so it's hard to get it. But from the stories I've heard from some people, when I went to the rally in Bryan, I could match some people to the complaint, but unless they gave me permission to talk about their story, we didn't talk about their story, you know?
Okay.
But some of those complaints we were able to like match up just because of the storyline is the same.
James Buzzard, good morning to you as well. Alyssa Ocone is here. Good morning, Alyssa Ocone. Alyssa Ocone is a fantastic person, a great listener of ours, and she is a hard worker. One day when I was coming out of this studio, I was on Instagram and almost got hit by a car, and I saw Alyssa Ocone. And she was like, yo, I had the hoodie on. She was like, yeah, she had a mask on, but I knew it was Alyssa Ocone. I was like, you're Alyssa Ocone. Good morning, Alyssa Ocone. Okay. So what now, with the information that has been gathered, with the article that has been written, what now? Like, what redress can be expected, in your opinion? Because you don't make policy, right? You don't. So I don't mean to ask you questions that you can't answer, but at least in your opinion, what do you feel should be next? What is the next steps? What does the redress look like?
For the police department or
for situations like these, where you have an egregious amount of complaints and an officer still on the force.
I think one of my former chief, Powell, I think he said it very well.
Bill Powell. Shouts out to Bill Powell. You know what? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Shout out to Bill Powell. He is a fantastic person. Bill Powell is he still the chief of NOBLE, the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement? I don't know if he's still the head of that, but he is a great guy. I interviewed him way back on Good Morning Aurora. Shout out to Bill Powell. What did he say?
Yeah, I think he said it very well that we need to analyze these patterns that are happening with officers and address them, retrain them. If it continues, even fire them, Right. In his own words, that's what he he was mentioned in your article. You quoted him in the article. I saw that. But wait a minute. But retrain him. How could I retrain you if you come out like this, right? Mm-hmm. What would retraining look like? I mean, I'm not posing that directly to you. Yeah. I've always felt like I'm curious to know that too.
Yeah, right. Like retrain. If I'm the trainer and you got it wrong, why am I? What's retraining gonna look like? See, I've been of the opinion, that firing people, will save a lot more harm, money to the community, at least in the case of Chicago. They pay police misconduct,
Millions in settlements.
millions of $14 million for 8 years of. I mean, it's just crazy. I've always been of the opinion that eliminating officers quickly is a far better practice than we're going to retrain them and we'll take a look at it. And I just think that their police departments have consistently not done themselves that favor. Keeping these kind of people, going to bat for people who should just be fired. But in your opinion, with the laws that have been changed and continue to change, will we ever get to that kind of more positive working plateau of police relations?
I think only time will tell. I think the laws are changing a lot. This year we passed the Safety Act, and
Right.
that had a lot of different criminal justice reform in it. So I think there's a lot of push for change, and some of it is happening. And everything does take time, and I understand that. It's changing something that was so ingrained
Right.
to change it
Sure.
to something new. So I'm hopeful that things will be better for everyone. Everyone deserves to have justice, to feel free to drive around without fear of being pulled over, without fear of a simple ticket escalating. So I am hopeful that people do feel comfortable in their own communities.
From beginning to end with your investigation of just this particular issue, how long was it from beginning to writing that article?
Yeah, I think we started about in May, like really started the investigation about in May, and it came out in mid-December.
Okay.
But I think part of it was also we were interviewing broadly about the police department and then went more narrow.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that I talked to that wasn't about the officer in the story. So, there's different stories from other people too that maybe we'll be publishing later.
Have you ever taken a ride along?
I have not.
Have you gone to the Citizens Police Academy training?
I have not.
Have you gone to any of the use of force demonstrations?
No.
Rita, some people would say, you don't know what the police go through. You don't know what it's like to wear the badge. And, what do you say to people like that?
I mean,
For the record, I didn't go to use of force training either. But I have gone to many of the initiatives. I try to stay, plus I keep my ear and my nose to the street anyway.
I keep up with it.
Sure.
I've seen the
Sure.
videos that they post online. I follow them on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of the things that they are doing
Okay.
in the police department.
Okay. Real quick, Monica, do me a favor. Please take me to a commercial so I can give a good piece of news for these wonderful people, because I have to tell them, Rita, if you bear with a brother real quick as I do this. The time is 8:35 a.m. Operation 60505 this Saturday from noon to 4 p.m. Our great friends of the Neighbor Project, Unidos, Immigration Solidarity DuPage, and VNA Healthcare will be at Sacred Heart Church in the lower level / basement, 755 Fulton Street here in Aurora. Housing resources, immigration resources, and health resources will be available. The flyer in English and Spanish will be shared on Good Morning Aurora and Buenos Dias Aurora, respectively. Shout out to our great community partners of the Neighbor Project, Unidos, Immigration Solidarity DuPage, and VNA Healthcare. Also, I want to tell you something that's extremely important, and if I did not, I wouldn't be a good friend to you. Get ready for February New Moon Cocoa Ceremony hosted by Andrea from Alejandra Alchemy. This will be Tuesday, February 1st from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. at Zen Loft Wellness Center, 6 West Downer Place. You can call or text 630-277-9376. The cost is $35. This cocoa ceremony celebrates the Aquarius new moon and is the best time to set intentions around social justice, community, visionary game plans, and reclaiming your inspiration. We will focus on anti-oppression, the collective, and creating new paradigms. Also, last little piece of news real quick. Find job search strategies. Optimize your job search with our dear friends of the Aurora Public Library. Tuesday, January 18th, 6:30 p.m. via Zoom. This will be a virtual workshop. Register at Aurora Public Library. Is it org or com?
It's calm.
I think it is com too. Honestly, people, they didn't put this on the flyer that they sent it, brother. That would have helped. Anyway, job search strategies. Register to get the exclusive Zoom link. We'll make a post about that separately after the show. The time is 8:37 a.m. You are listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. And we are here with Rita Oceguera of Injustice Watch. All right. So, Jasmine, good morning. I want to say that I am glad that there are people like you and organizations like yours who do this work, right? Who get out there and report, who gather, sift through, do the filtering, do the work. Even if it does help your case. If it's not factually true, you don't go with it, right? I respect the journalistic process like you do. I think that what people need to understand, though, and I'd like you to kind of talk about a little bit more, is that what if you do experience something, or if a person does go through something with an officer, if things don't go your way, what, in your opinion, is their first step? What should they do?
I think you have to tell someone about it. I think this is important.
Someone or the police? What's the complaint? Someone tell your mom, or do you make a complaint? Like, well, we've seen what's happened with telling someone. That's not always right.
Yeah. It doesn't always go the way you want. You make a complaint and maybe nothing happens from it, but it does help. You put a complaint in and they add up, and then we're able to do this work and see that there's a pattern that's happening.
Right.
So you're able to do a complaint directly through the police department. There's now a civilian review board. Mm-hmm. You can do a complaint through them. Okay. You're able to complain directly to the city of Aurora as well.
Have you been able to liaison with or work with the civilian review board?
I've attended most of their meetings so far, and I know they're still figuring out how the process of how they're going to be reviewing complaints and how they're going to be getting complaints from people. So I know they're still in the beginning process of it. So, and I've been reaching out to them, and we're planning to talk soon. We keep missing each other. I reach out to them, they didn't get to me. You reach out to me, I wasn't able to call them back. Right? But we're getting to it, and I've been to their meetings, and they're making plans. So that's another venue now that people have to submit complaints. If they don't feel comfortable going to the police department, they're able to do it that way.
What's wrong with America?
That's a big question.
It is.
I don't. There's a lot of things.
Like.
I think there's a lack of accountability for a lot of institutions.
Right.
Sometimes they're not held to the same standard as a regular civilian. And there's a lot of disparities of who has access to things, who has the ability to contact certain people. People don't know. There's a lack of information, and there's misinformation traveling all around all the time. There's just really just like a lack of knowledge of what to do when something happens, how to go about doing it. Sometimes it's really daunting, right, to figure out the process of something. Just like a quick example, like I'm a first generation college student from my family, mm-hmm. and the financial aid process is very difficult. So things like that, like processes, are difficult in America and difficult for low income people of color, marginalized communities. So I think access to information is very key, and I would say maybe the problem in America, I guess.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
No, you're correct.
I went around, but I got there.
No, you did. No, you didn't go. You painted the picture for us. You painted the picture. It's what you're talking about, which is important, is that there are unfortunately haves and have-nots, and there are people who just cannot. They don't have that ability, and it's really unfortunate. They can't afford competent legal advice, so they may find themselves in a bad situation. From a payday loan store charging you 86% interest to not being able to to know services in your language, whatever that is. So no, that's right. All of those things are they should be addressed. They really should. Norma gave us a very interesting statement here. She says, they need to weed out the bad cops. It makes everyone else look bad. That's what allowed my BLL to get away with the things he did for so long. What do you think about that? We talked about that a little bit, about weeding out the bad. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think the institutions like police departments should hold their own people accountable.
Yeah. Did you ever work with any other police departments or do any research on any other ones?
We're working on that.
Okay.
We're working on expanding to other suburbs as well.
Like who? Girl, give us some what? Like who? Give us some juice. Like sprinkle us. Who y'all got? Hanover Park?
Yeah. After the investigation came out, I've received a lot of outreach from people.
Sure.
People telling me, "Oh, this happened to me too," but also people from different suburbs also was like, "Oh, this is happening in Joliet. Like, can I talk to you about it?"
Right.
And I was like, "Yes. Like, let's talk." Like, I love when people reach out to me. So if you want to reach out to me, please do. I always love talking to new people and hearing the stories and learning that it's happening in other places as well. Another place we were looking at was Dolton, Illinois. It's in Cook County.
Yeah, I'm from I'm from Harvey. That's ground zero. That's turf. That's turf right there. Yeah,
that I mean, if, you have your own and you live near there. So I was in talks with some people in that area as well. So we're looking at different areas. People from Elgin reached out to me as well. Yeah, people who lived here and moved away, but say it follows them.
Here's the thing. Johnny Felix, good morning to you as well, sir. Good morning, Johnny Felix. But here's the thing, though. What is your standard? If somebody's reaching out to you, hey, I got a complaint against Officer X. What is the standard, right? I'll give you an example with us. It just happened. A person has information about the Aurora Housing Authority, corruption, terrible stuff. They're drowning puppies. And they want to tell the world about it, but wouldn't give us their email address with which to make a calendar invite so we could. That's shady. That's kind of suspect. That's the first red flag. So what is your process when you meet these people? How do you sift through what is valid and worth further discussion and what's not?
Yeah. So everything we do has to be based on fact.
Okay.
So a lot of it can be substantiated with documents. If you're dealing with the police department, there's some type of trail of documents, like arrest records,
right?
Police records, things like that. So if we're able to substantiate things with records, that helps a lot. That makes it easier to follow through with that story. If you have a lawsuit, then we're able to look at the lawsuit and we're able to point to us, talk to the police department. Hey, there's this lawsuit. We have this document. What can you tell us about this? It's easier to go about doing things like that with documents, with facts. So everything has to be fact-based. So I whoever reached out to me, I always try and talk to them first interaction, talk, and then I ask them when did this happen? I try and find documents for it and substantiate it. So it depends a lot on if we're able to substantiate it. You know? Everything we do is fact-based.
Right.
Nothing is.
Yep. Yeah.
We don't speculate.
No, no, that's right. Can't do that. Can't do that. See that? No, that's why I respect you. I read that article from the beginning to the end, and follow up material, dates, times, nates. Yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you're supposed to do it. Does it concern you doing this kind of work?
Sometimes. I think my fiance was more concerned for me than anything. I love the work I do. I really do. I love being able to talk to people, and I love looking. I'm a nerd, I guess. I love reading documents and talking to experts and being able to put it all together. It's a great process to be able to do it. I was a little wary of it, but not really, because I love the work I do, and I don't think to stop doing it.
Right.
So I think it's something I have in my mind, but something that I've accepted that just comes with the job of reporting on things, I guess. But my family was a bit concerned.
Part of the territory, right?
Yeah, that's my family was a bit more concerned.
Hey,
but
if you don't like the heat, get out the kitchen. If you can't take it. All right, so real quick, interestingly enough, how is a person able to continue working in their job with so many complaints against them? That wouldn't fly in retail, fast food, etc. Why is it acceptable in a police department? It's just a brilliant statement, but it is the glare. That's the light, right? That's the penny drop moment. That's when the light goes on. If you worked at Culver's Chicken, if you worked at Kohl's, if you work at LTO, you can't mess up that many times in any other profession in life and keep your job. You just can't. The first person who comes in to JCPenney saying that you asked them did they steal something, you said no, and then they put you in a full Nelson and broke your wrist, you're fired. Just doesn't fly like that in police departments. That's what it seems like. That must be frustrating. Do you ever get frustrated looking at reading some of the material?
Yes.
What's the most frustrating thing you've dealt with?
I'm not sure about that. I think I would have to think about that more, but yeah, I'm not sure how to answer that one.
I feel you. Looking at all this kind of material, I guess it'd be kind of hard to pick and choose which of these is the worst, and which is better than the others. No, I completely understand that. It's 8:49 a.m. Good morning, Gloria, Hugo, and Jasmine. I think we said hi to Jasmine already, didn't we? We did. Okay, so what's next? You said that more you still being reached out to by people, but what's on the horizon first for Injustice Watch, and then for you?
Yeah, we're gonna keep looking into the stories that we've heard from people on APD. We're gonna continue down that way, but we're also, like I said, we're gonna be expanding to other suburbs.
So more APD work to come?
Yes.
Okay.
I think definitely we'll see more work.
Okay.
And other suburbs, we want to check out in other suburbs and see what's going on.
What's going on in Chicago? Is it who's doing the Chicago stuff? Who's that person?
For
like Chicago Police Department complaints.
Yeah. Right now we're not working on anything specifically with the Chicago Police Department.
Okay.
But
because surely Injustice Watch will surely, right?
Yeah.
Surely there would have to be a Chicago Day or a Chicago, right? Because I
yeah, there's the Invisible Institute. They're an amazing organization. They have a database of complaints for Chicago police officers, and their database is amazing. It's very extensive. They have complaint documents uploaded on there, and they're constantly updating it. Right. So I think from the top of my head, that's probably like the person who's covering Chicago police complaints and things like that.
Okay.
Chicago Reporter has done a lot of work on it as well in the past. They did a lot of work on settlements.
They've been around for a long time. Chicago Reporter, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I worked there for a little bit, 6 months, and it was great working there. I did a lot of work on the data around settlements that we were gonna do an update on the settlements.
Okay.
So it's very interesting to see the process of like looking up those documents, looking up the stories. So yeah, I feel there's a lot of small organizations, a lot of nonprofit newsrooms doing a lot of work in Chicago right now.
Okay. All right. Now, where can people find your work in Justice Watch? Where are you guys at on social media?
Yeah, you can find us at justicewatch.org.
Okay.
And we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Reddit. You know, we have a great Charles Preston. He's constantly updating our social media. He's doing great work. He's always engaging with people as well. This is something we're trying to do a lot in Justice Watch. We're trying to do more work around engagement. We do community events, we do Zooms with experts, and we do panels, things like that. We do explainers, infographics. You know, we're expanding. We're doing a lot of work right now. I love Injustice Watch. You know, I could talk about them forever. So I think we're doing a lot of great work, and we're just gonna continue growing and encourage everyone to look at our social media handles, follow us. We always have some great stories. Might be a story coming up next week that I'm writing.
Okay.
If people want to check out.
It drops next week? All right.
It should be coming out next week.
Stay tuned for that. That's what's up. Good stuff. And it'll be on injusticewatch.org.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Who are the other writers?
Other writers, yeah. We have Carlos. He covers immigration.
Okay.
We have Grace. She does housing.
Okay.
We have Maya. She's working on our judges right now.
Okay. Housing, immigration, and judges?
Judges, judicial court system. And we have Josh, who does a variety of things. He's covered a bunch of different issues. He worked a lot with like prison issues, things that are happening in the prisons. And he's working on some great investigations right now that I'm really excited for them to drop. Okay. So there's going to be a lot coming out. Did I miss someone? Yeah, we constantly have interns coming and going. Okay. So they've done a lot of great work too. All right.
Headquartered in Chicago. Injustice Watch is headquartered in Chicago, but now expanding activities in the suburbs. Dalton is on the proverbial radar. So good stuff and kudos. Erica, good morning to you as well. The time is 8:54 a.m. Monica, we got like 2 more joints, right? Don't we got there's another Rush Copley Waterford Center thing, is there not? I think, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Would you?
Hello, everyone. Yes, I put right mic on. All right. The Rush Copley is starting group workshops to support and help people managing cancer treatment or in remission. This is from Fridays, February 4th through March 18th from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. This group is facilitated by 2 trained leaders, meets for 2.5 hours once a week for 7 weeks, and focuses on increasing your ability to manage your health and maintain an active and full life. For more information or to register, you can contact Waterford Place at 331-301-5280.
Very much, Monica. Thank you. Much appreciated. All right, the time is now 8:56 a.m. So currently, I just want to get a little bit. I want to dig a little bit more with the process and the work. How can people reach out to you? What is your email address?
People can reach out to me at Rita Oceguera at injusticewatch.org.
Okay.
I have a work number as well that I can't recall
Sure.
what it is.
It's all good, yeah.
But in the story, there is a flyer attached there with my email and my work number.
Okay.
We did outreach for people when we started investigating APD.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a story about APD, you can contact me, and my information's on there.
Okay. In your time, so you're Aurora born and raised. What are a few of the biggest changes you've seen from then till now, from being young and and being here until now?
Yeah, Aurora has changed a lot. They're much more active on social media.
Right.
So we're able to find out like what's happening in the community much quicker, which is really great. Downtown is thriving now.
Right.
There's a lot of new businesses coming in. I'm sad to see some businesses that have left.
Yeah.
That I grew up with and I walked in all the time, and they're gone now, and it's sad to see them go. But it is exciting to see more people walking downtown, more people going downtown.
It's not as dead as it used to be,
It's
right?
not as dead as it used to be. Which is exciting. It's like things that, people who live here can do. You don't have to go to Naperville to go eat at a restaurant.
Right.
You can come right here.
Yeah.
And I think promoting the small businesses in Aurora is a great thing. So it's been great. And it's changed a lot because I left for college and I came back and things were kind of different.
What's the biggest impact COVID has had in your life?
On my life? Oh, man. Something I remember in the early, when COVID barely began, we didn't know what it was, what was happening. It was really scary. It was just, I think, just like knowing how my parents felt growing up, how parents are constantly worrying for their kids. And then all of a sudden, I was constantly worried for my parents because they're older people.
Right.
And, I don't want them to get sick. And I've had distant family members who passed away from COVID. And it's sad to see how it's really disrupted life in so many ways, like very personally, and just people working from home, the schools, kids learning from school is very difficult. Teachers, I have a lot of friends who are teachers. Having to teach over Zoom is very difficult, or having to teach a combination of Zoom and in person.
Right.
It's
Mixing it. Jeez.
It's hard, and I think the most important thing is that we keep each other safe and we try and do the best we can with the circumstances that were given to us. But yeah, I think it's disrupted life in a big way, and I think the thing that comes to mind first is just like that worry of my parents are gonna go grocery shopping. Are they gonna get it? Is it gonna affect them? How is it gonna affect them?
Right.
Thankfully now we have vaccines, and I feel safer knowing that they're vaccinated, they're boosted, and they're safe in some sense.
Right.
That fear of them dying isn't
Right.
as prevalent as before. But yeah, I think COVID is crazy what we're living through right now.
Yeah, we have a lot of friends who feel the same way and have felt the same way. Because this show, we've interviewed a mixture of people who are friends and people who we've never met before. But that's a consistent theme, the worry for our parents, for those older, and just basic worry and everything. Which is why we highlight getting vaccinated and all that stuff so much on this show. Because that was probably one of the biggest concerns remember when there were no vaccines? Remember before when there were no vaccines?
Yeah, I remember. I was working at Target during that time. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Just how it evolved. And at first you're like, oh, it's not really a big deal. And then you're like, oh,
Lockdown.
This is a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
So the time is now 9:01 a.m. The show ends on a positive note. So, what is your message to the people of Aurora today?
I guess I would like to tell you all that your voices matter and your stories matter, and hit me up. I want to hear your stories. If you feel like no one's gonna listen, even if it doesn't become an article or something, I do want to know. I do want to hear your story.
Sure. Yeah. All right. This was a good conversation. No doubt. That was a good one. That was a good one. All of you wonderful people, we hope that you enjoyed this great show and conversation. The news team will be covering tomorrow's press conference. That episode will debut a little bit later on, and then next week, the news team, I think, travels with the administration to Indiana or something like that. I think it is. They're unveiling something new. So we'll show you guys that later on. Josie Mendoza Geller, have a great day, Aurora. Let's make a difference. Very good words from our teacher. How about that?
Yeah.
Family show. Told y'all what? Number 1, take care of yourself and each other.